and enjoy the presentation.
Good morning. Great to have you all here. I hope you've been having a wonderful reunion weekend and are enjoying being back on campus. My name is Doug Mitrotonda, and I'm in Ithaca this weekend celebrating my 10-year undergraduate reunion with the class of 2002. This morning, I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming you to the State of the University Address. Before I introduce President David Skorton, please join me in extending a special welcome to President Emeritus Frank Rhodes and his wife, Rosa Rhodes. Though Frank's tenure as president ended in 1995, he continues to engage alumni and be a wonderful ambassador for Cornell. Thank you again, Frank and Rosa. Welcome. Please also welcome President Emeritus Hunter Rawlings and his wife, Elizabeth Rawlings. I first came to know Hunter's leadership when he transformed the first-year experience by moving all freshmen to North Campus and created the West Campus house system. More recently, however, I see him as the trendsetter who made it cool for presidents at the University of Iowa to come to Cornell. Welcome. Provost Kent Fox and his wife Linda Fox are also with us today. Kent has the responsibility for all academic matters on our Ithaca campus and provides outstanding leadership to all our faculty and colleges. Welcome, Kent and Linda. Finally, I am delighted to welcome Professor Robin Davison, David's wife and distinguished faculty member in the College of Veterinary Medicine and Cornell Weill Medical College in New York City. Robin is recognized as an outstanding mentor to the students in her lab, but I think her passion for student engagement has most bravely and courageously been demonstrated each fall when she has moved into the freshman dorms with David during orientation week. Welcome, Robin. Now, those paying attention noticed I qualified this as my undergraduate reunion. That is because I finally moved out of Ithaca just a few years ago, only after completing a few graduate degrees and stressing out my mom for many years that I would never get a real job. One of the highlights of my extended stay on campus was the privilege of joining Cornell's Board of Trustees as a student-elected member. My first assignment? Serve on the Presidential Search Committee to select Cornell's 12th president. Nothing like easing into my new role. While our committee considered a number of highly qualified individuals, I knew the instant I met David that he was the right person for the job. His affable personality, combined with impressive academic and administrative credentials, quickly convinced me that David understood the importance of our alma mater's land-grant mission and any person, any study motto. Under David's leadership, over the past 6 years, Cornell has made the cost of education more affordable for low-income students and secured the university's future by raising $4 billion in the current capital campaign. Our campus continues to grow in an increasingly environmentally friendly way with new construction here in Ithaca. Life sciences, physical sciences, and architecture buildings are already in place, and the first humanities building in over 100 years will be completed by the end of 2015. The Cornell footprint continues to grow outside of Ithaca as well. Our New York City Tech campus, which I believe will be the cornerstone of David's tenure, will enroll its first students this fall. David has also guided Cornell through difficult times. He has recognized the unique challenges facing this generation of students by increasing support for mental health issues on campus and confronting hazing in the Greek system, addressing both topics in the local and national media. Furthermore, David has overseen the recruitment of terrific new faculty while reimagining a new strategic plan for Cornell during the largest economic downturn in recent history. Back in January 2006, I wrote a Daily Sun column discussing the board's unanimous and enthusiastic election of David to become our next president. I concluded that column by writing, quote, "I firmly believe David will be an excellent leader of our university, and even after just a few conversations, he has already begun to inspire me as to what Cornell can achieve in the coming years. With David and Robin soon joining the Cornell family, we have a bright future ahead." End quote. David, you have faced the challenges of our times with grace and conviction and continue to inspire me as to what Cornell can achieve in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Cornell's 12th president, Dr. David J. Skorton.
Good morning, everyone. Did you get to bed since I saw you last, or have you just been partying all night long? That's what I thought. I can see those bloodshot eyes from here. That's great. Doug, thank you very much, not only for this hugely generous introduction, but for all the things you taught me when you were on campus and since you left. It's wonderful to see you and Rachel and to stay in touch. And congratulations on your new job, her new job, and for coming back. And your suit, which is very handsome. Well, I want to welcome you on behalf of everyone at Cornell University, whether you are at your 5th reunion, or your 75th reunion, or whether you're part of the class of 2012 having the reunion 0, whether you're connecting with a professional school or a special interest alumni association or the continuous reunion group. How many of those folks are here? Oh yeah. Whether you're here in Ithaca or whether you're watching live stream, Doug, is that the right term? I'm just trying to understand this stuff. Okay. Whether you're watching live stream of reunion events in another part of the world, we are delighted that you're with us on this glorious weekend of Cornell, past, present, and future. A special welcome to Milt Kogan, physician, writer, and actor, most recently in The Descendants with George Clooney, who is celebrating both his 55th reunion with his original class of 1957 and his 5th reunion with a class of 07 with whom he actually finished his degree. Is Milt here? Well, when you see him, tell him we're glad to have him back. Welcome back, Milt. Well, this is Cornell reunion number 7 for Robin and me, and I hope we now qualify as continuous reunioners. Our first reunion was in June 2006, a few weeks before Hunter and Elizabeth gave us the keys to the house. And it's wonderful, again, to have you and the Rhodeses back here today. Just wonderful. I want to take just a moment also to remember another Cornell president who's on our minds, Dale R. Corson, who passed away earlier this spring at the age of 97. Dale spent nearly all of his academic life at Cornell as a professor of physics, as dean of the College of Engineering, as provost, and as president during some of the most difficult years in Cornell's history. And he remained devoted to Cornell, serving as chancellor and as president emeritus. I hope you'll join me in pausing for a moment of silence in honor of our friend and mentor, Dale Corson. Thank you. Dale, as you know, was one of Cornell's great leaders, in part, I believe, because he never lost touch with his roots as a member of the faculty. And the current faculty, just like those you may remember from your days on the Hill, are the heart of Cornell. As many of you know, a third or more of Cornell's professors will likely retire over the next decade. And together with the other priorities we have identified, student access and public engagement and internationalization, faculty renewal is one of Cornell's key areas of focus as we all look forward to the sesquicentennial. In my first 2 years at Cornell in 06 and 07, I participated in about 100 departmental visits and other events so that I would get to know the faculty, their scholarly interests, and of course it was hugely, hugely impressive. More recently, I have been visiting departments on the Ithaca campus with Vice President Glenn Altshuler to listen to the faculty teach me about undergraduate education. And what I want to do today is to take you on an odyssey, a travelogue with me, and share some of the observations I have made in being reintroduced to undergraduate education at Cornell University. So far, we've met with departments in 5 colleges: human ecology, engineering, agriculture and life sciences, arts and sciences, and ILR. And it is clear, friends, that Cornell is in terrific hands. The young faculty that the provost and the deans have recruited and retained are impressive, not only in research and scholarship and creative work, but in the creativity and concern and commitment they have for undergraduate teaching. Senior faculty and department chairs and the academic deans and Provost Fox deserve enormous credit for building and maintaining an academic culture on this campus where undergraduate education is considered on a par with research and scholarship and creative excellence. And it is no coincidence that the most prized accolade awarded by Cornell to any faculty member is appointment as a Stephen H. Weiss Presidential Fellow, a recognition of superlative undergraduate teaching created with guidance and vision and support from our late friend Steve Weiss, class of '57, former chair of the Board of Trustees. Our faculty's continuing focus on undergraduate education is redefining the undergraduate experience for the current students and for those who will come after. And a few examples from my trip around campus. Jeff Coates is one of the world's leading polymer chemists and the Tisch University professor in chemistry and chemical biology. He also teaches many hundreds of students organic chemistry and advises them to ask their questions of him in person, greeting them one by one in his office where a chalkboard is readily at hand. In the Department of Material Science and Engineering, students in introductory courses and electives are exposed through illuminating and interesting hands-on experiments the critical role of materials in technological innovation. These courses range from nanotechnology focused on emergent behaviors at the tiniest scale to a course on energy that couldn't be more timely, that explores challenges in such subjects as photovoltaics and batteries and fuel cells. On a visit to the Communications Department in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, ranked among the top 10 such departments in the country in a recent National Research Council assessment, I learned about the digital age changes in curriculum implemented by the faculty in that department. In his courses, Tarleton Gillespie, Associate Professor of Communications and a member of the graduate field of Information Science and of Science and Technology Studies, aims to spur students to be critical thinkers about the technologies they interact with every day. This department is led by Jerry Gay, who is also a professor in information science, director of the Interaction Design Lab, and a Weiss Presidential Fellow. Jerry, I hope many of you know, gave the Liberty Hyde Bailey Lecture yesterday on social media matters. Well, our younger faculty, along with the veteran faculty, have a willingness to design multidisciplinary courses, and they teach them in teams. Poet Lyra Van Cleef Stefanon is an associate professor of English who was a finalist recently for a National Book Award for the book Open Interval. Next semester, Lyra will join forces with Steve Pond, currently chair of the music department, and Travis Gosa, assistant professor in the Africana Studies and Research Center, to team teach a course called Hip Hop, Rhythm, Words, and Life. This course is one of 13 multidisciplinary courses that we are calling university courses that Cornell will offer this coming year. This concept is conceived by Vice Provost and Professor Laura Brown and piloted this past academic year on a smaller scale to be extended in the new year. These university courses are designed to foster intellectual discovery and promote debate and address complex issues while giving students across the campus, across the colleges, a common experience of Cornell as a single university. On a visit to ILR, we took the pulse of the faculty about the recent merger of economics and labor economics to create a new university-wide economics department. The merger brings together all economics faculty from the College of Arts and Sciences and all labor economists from the ILR school, plus a small number of senior faculty from other schools and colleges who hold joint appointments in this new department. During my visit to ILR, I learned that these faculty were very enthusiastic about the merger, which they expect to improve the educational experience of the undergraduates as well as graduate students, and expand research and attract outstanding scholars in economics in the coming years. Also at ILR, I learned about the school's innovative undergraduate courses related to globalization. These courses range from one called Work, Labor, and Capital in the Global Economy to a course called South African Industrial Relations in Transitions, the latter taught in partnership, again, with the Africana Center. Just last month, I visited the Dyson School of Applied Economics and Management, which is one of only 2 accredited undergraduate business programs in the Ivy League, which, by the way, is in the process of having its home renovated, Warren Hall. The undergraduate business program is currently ranked number 3 in the United States by Business Week and number 9 by U.S. News and World Report. Many of you, I hope, had a first-hand opportunity to see one of the Dyson School faculty, Brian Wansink, in action during the Class of '62 50th Reunion Symposium yesterday. Brian joined Professor Carl Pillemer and New York Times columnist Jane Brody, Class of '62, in a lively discussion of the secrets of a long life. And over and above, and I'll tell you later what those secrets are. And over and above their commitment to undergraduate students in the classroom and laboratory and studio across this university, a significant number of faculty members serve as faculty in residence, faculty fellows in the residence halls and residential houses. These faculty members, in addition to everything else they're doing, provide a very important bridge between learning and living on this campus through the many extracurricular activities that very importantly define the Cornell experience. I am especially grateful for the time and energy and commitment that House professors and deans devote to residential houses on the West Campus. Now, of course, challenges remain. Space is a constant challenge for faculty in many areas of the university, and I have cut back the level of construction because of the recession. We are no longer borrowing money to build buildings. Staff reductions that we have implemented in response to the Great Recession, which has reduced our staff workforce complement by over 9%, have affected the support available to our faculty. And we need more graduate assistants at this university as they prepare themselves to be tomorrow's leaders in a broad range of disciplines in and outside of academia. Talented graduate students serve as well as very effective teaching assistants, working closely with the faculty in large lecture courses and in small discussion groups. Now, faculty renewal figures prominently in Provost Fox's strategic plan that is guiding us toward the sesquicentennial in 2015. And as a proud member of the aging boomers on the Hill, who believe that we are not yet over the hill, I think we need to be creative about hanging on to our best minds as we create opportunities for their successors. This will require more bridge appointments to hire new PhD graduates and rising stars as well as senior scholars, while keeping productive, experienced faculty in the classroom, in the studio, in the laboratory, until they are ready to make the transition to retirement. And I am very heartened by the progress that the provost and the deans have made in hiring as we recover from the Great Recession, that for a time caused many faculty searches at Cornell and nationally to be canceled and put on hold. When such searches are put on hold, of course, it has a chilling effect on the thoughts of those thinking to go into academia. Well, I'm glad to report to you that in the last year, your alma mater made 71 new tenure-track appointments on this campus alone, up from 27 in 10-11 and 42 in 9-10. And as we approach the sesquicentennial, I see Cornell continuing to lead the way across a very broad sweep of academic areas in the sciences and technology and professional fields and the social sciences and the arts and the humanities, and hiring the faculty members who will propel us to become, as our aspiration states, one of the top 10 universities in the world. I do see Cornell NYC Tech, our new applied sciences campus in New York City. Did you hear that we won that competition? Well, Doug was very generous to give me some credit for this, but I'll tell you where the credit goes. The credit goes to a dream team of 4 people, Provost Fox and Dean Lance Collins of Engineering, and then Dean Dan Huttenlocker of Computing and Information Sciences, and then Associate Dean of Engineering Kathy Dove, and many other members of the senior staff of this university. That's one. Number 2 credit for this accomplishment goes to you, to the alumni of Cornell University, who, without checking with me, developed a 21,000 signature electronic petition and got in the face of those in City Hall in New York City. Oh yeah, give yourself a round of applause. And to one of your fellow alums, Charles F. Feeney, class of 56, creator of the duty-free shops, who among $6 billion of philanthropy that he has fostered in the years since he created this very interesting retail idea, $6 billion, has given a gift of $350 million to pay for the whole first phase of this campus. So somehow, between the dream team and the alumni and Chuck Feeney, we got around all the bases. Now, the team decided to partner with the Technion-Israel Institute of Technology, a very, very famous entrepreneurship organization and technical university in Haifa, Israel. The alumni and current faculty of that university, having founded more companies that are currently on the NASDAQ from that one institution than the entire European Union combined. Cornell University and the Technion are combining to develop graduate and professional education in science and technology, combining it with entrepreneurship, enriching the educational experience of students, and we believe fueling New York City and therefore New York State's tech sector. And people are coming on board on this opportunity. Recently, as I hope you heard, Google Inc. has donated space for Cornell NYC Tech for 5 years, donated space in their building in Chelsea while we build the new campus on Roosevelt Island. Now, Now, we talk a lot about the sciences. The national dialogue is all about STEM, as well it needs to be. But the most thorny problems in our world will not be solved by science alone. And humanities are very important to keep front and center as we move through continuing difficult times in this country and in this world. And I see, looking forward, our humanities faculty continuing to provide students from throughout the university with opportunities to develop as critical thinkers and citizens and scholars. And I want to tell you that 34 humanists were hired over the last 2 years, 34, which is about 2/3 of the 56 total arts and science faculty hired during that time. So this university and this provost and this dean have made a commitment to keep humanities on the front burner of Cornell University. And soon, these new faculty and the current distinguished faculty will be able to carry out their work with the students of this university in a new humanities building, the first project entirely devoted to the humanities on this campus since 1905. This is going to be built adjacent to Goldwin Smith, but don't worry, friends, it's going to be on the East Avenue side of Goldwin Smith. And as you walk through the Arts Quad, it'll look the same as when you were here. And when you walk on the East Avenue side, you'll see proudly facing our beautiful new Physical Sciences building, a testament to the humanities. And I am delighted and grateful that Dick Gross, class of 52, who drove all the way from Michigan to be here for his 60th, and his family have made a very generous gift to name a beautiful, capacious atrium in the new building. And Dick, are you here today? I think he must be with Milt Kogan somewhere. If you see Dick with Milt, tell him we really appreciate the family's generosity and vision toward the humanities. And I'm also pleased today to announce that the building will be called Klarman Hall in recognition of the efforts of Seth Klarman, class of 79, and Beth Klarman to enhance the humanities at Cornell University. Looking forward and thinking about education, I see our faculty even deepening their commitment to education. I see more and more distinguished faculty members advancing the teaching mission of the university, building on the recently established Menschel Distinguished Teaching Fellow Program, established in 2010, which provides extraordinary faculty members with a one-year fellowship to further increase the capacity of this university for undergraduate teaching. And I see our students augmenting their already 400,000 hours of community service each year through an expanded range of service learning courses and other opportunities that are being developed through our newly established Center for Community Engaged Learning and Research, and through our long-standing excellent Public Service Center, which just celebrated its 20th anniversary this year. Each year, Cornell recognizes some of our most exceptional graduating seniors and designates them Merrill Presidential Scholars, and asks these students to select a teacher from their high school or prep school and a professor at Cornell who each contributed most in the students' eyes to their success. And I want to share with you what some of this year's Merrill Scholars had to say about their Cornell faculty. From Phoenix Paz, it was honoring Maria Cristina Garcia of our Department of History. As she advised me on my honors thesis, Professor Garcia pushed me to find the details, the elements that didn't fit comfortably within the narrative I wanted to tell, and to use those details to reconceptualize the very meaning of history. From Chandler Kemp, who was honoring Mukund Vengalatore of the Department of Physics, he has a contagious passion for science that inspired me to view my lab work as a joy rather than a job. I got to tell you, I wish I had somebody like that when I was taking physics, but that's another story. From Charles Weil, honoring Debbie Cherney of the Department of Animal Science, her kindness proved invaluable. Whether it be answering a question about animal nutrition, still my favorite course at Cornell, or helping me take steps toward reaching my dream career, she was always available. She helped ignite a spark of curiosity and supported me. Like our 2012 Merrill Scholars, all of you have been the beneficiary of great undergraduate teachers, and all of us have a stake in building the faculty that will define Cornell's future in undergraduate education. I thank all of you for the support that you have provided and the critique and the closeness that you have kept with us on this issue. I hope you'll be inspired by what you continue to learn about undergraduate education on this campus, and I hope you'll be inspired by your entire experience at Reunion 2012. With your continued involvement, with you keeping in touch with me at my email address that I share with all alumni, david.skorton@cornell.edu, Cornell at its sesquicentennial and at your next reunion in 2017 will still lead the way in research and in graduate and professional studies, and yes, in undergraduate education. Returning classes of the 2s and 7s, continuous reunioners, alumni of special interest alumni groups in the professional schools, you are all Cornellians, then and now and forever. Thank you for sharing this journey with me. Thank you. Well, my senior advisors over the years have told me, please keep making your speeches shorter. They're not that good, and have more time for Q&A. So we have 18 minutes that we can interact with each other on any topic you like. Now, for those of you who were here during our little impromptu Q&A yesterday, we're going to have none of this business with the class of '82. None of these. Don't be cheering for your classmate who tried to stump the chump. That's not what this is all about. So let's try to be nice. And as we begin the Q&A, I'm asking you, if it's the last thing we do at this reunion, we got to find out where Milt Kogan and Dick Gross are and what they are doing. That's what I want to know. So please, we have microphones here. I'm sure you have many questions and suggestions for me. Please, thank you for coming.
Question. With the cost cutting that you did start about 5 years ago, how did it all turn out?
Well, are you in a class of '82?
I'm a proud member of class of '67 and pleased to be here.
All right. So in other words, it's not just the class of '82. You're just a difficult to deal with group, period. Okay, so this is a very serious question. How'd the cost cutting come out? Good and bad. When the cost cutting and the balancing the budget began, right when Ken Fox became provost, that year we were experiencing what we measured to be a structural deficit of about $140 million. Let me tell you what I mean by that. What I mean by that is that we projected $140 million of expenditures that would need to be made for which we could not identify recurring revenues because of change in the revenue picture of the endowment going down, and therefore the return from the endowment being reduced. Of course, anticipating a change in philanthropy as everyone was struggling through this horrendous downturn, a step back in state support for the institution, and a flattening of federal support for research. So we put our heads together, and I want to tell you, there are many people contributed to this, but I'll tell you some of the people who stepped forward and did the most. David Harris, who at the time leading up to that was interim provost and has just been appointed, by the way, provost at Tufts University, and Ken Fox, who was dean of engineering and becoming provost, and Susan Murphy, the vice president for student and academic services, and Mary Opperman, the vice president for Human Resources and Safety Services, and Joanne DeStefano, the Chief Financial Officer of the university, and many other people, Vice President Q Wong of Facility Services, the deans, many other senior staff, got together with the trustees and decided that we were not going to balance the budget entirely by revenue increases by raising tuition. The tuition is high here. It's continued to go up at a level slightly beyond inflation. Even during these tough times, we've had to do that. And so we decided to do three things, besides the provost leading an effort to reconceptualize a strategic plan going forward. And we never had a complete strategic plan until he did that. The one thing we decided to do was reduce expenditures, and we realized that we could use some help and advice. We brought in Bain and Company. This is different than Bain Capital if you're interested in the election year. So don't start asking me questions about, the election year. This is Bain and Company, a consulting firm. And we decided to have them focus on the non-academic aspects. That is, not to tell us how to teach things or do research, but to tell us how to do other things that might be different. We took into account their input, as well as the input of some 20 academic task forces that the provost convened, as well as input from the very extensive experience and expertise of the individuals I named earlier. And we, today, in the year that's about to start in July 1, we will have a balanced budget at the end of that year where we project no structural deficit. And the estimate from Elmira Mangum, our Vice President for Planning and Budget, is that slightly more than half of that gap being closed was done through expenditure reductions, and the rest through revenue enhancement, tuition increases, the endowment coming back, philanthropy coming back. So I'm very proud to tell you, number one, that we reduced expenditures, and that was the main thing we did. The second thing we did was cut back enormously on construction, which cut expenditures but also reduced future debt and debt service because we were not selling bonds, and we continue to not do that. And the humanities building that Dr. Lepage has developed was done 100% with your philanthropy, 100%. And so it is possible to do that. The state of New York continues to help us build buildings. And then the third thing we are doing is very, very, very important, is operating with a reduced staff workforce. And we still have yet to find a way to balance the available hands on deck with the work that has to be done. The university hasn't cut back in what it's done. It's doing more. There's more students, more programs, more research, more education. And so we're still in the belly of the beast trying to figure this out for the long run, but I'm proud to tell you that these senior colleagues figured out a way to balance this budget, mostly by expenditure reduction, and we'll see how it goes going forward. Thank you.
Would you say a little bit about the present state of and the future plans for the medical school?
Sure. While Cornell Medical College in New York City, the faculty there comprise 40% of the full-time faculty of the university, 1,200 there and 1,600 here roughly. Constitutes about 35% of the budget and is responsible for about 37% of the endowment. So it's a big, big part of the university, as it is everywhere with a medical school. The medical college is a link to, we don't own and operate a hospital. And I'm looking at Hunter, and we've been through the wars together, and that's okay with us, that we don't actually own and operate a hospital. But it's affiliated with New York Presbyterian, the 6th-ranked hospital in the United States, by far the top-ranked hospital in New York State. And so it's a very, very honored and well-known and superlative clinical operation. That's number one. Number two, it's a small medical school. It enrolls about 100 medical students in each class. That's quite a modest-sized medical school and gives them enormously effective education, and also is the first medical school to give an American MD overseas. We're in the 12th year, beginning the 12th year of operating a medical school in Doha, Qatar, in the Persian Gulf. And I just got back from my 5th commencement there, where students have the same curriculum as New York City. They had terrific outcome in getting residencies and so on. The medical college does a lot of research, and we think that it needs to be even a bigger presence in the world of research. And after 15 distinguished years of leading it, Dr. Antonio Gatto retired, and we were very fortunate to attract and recruit Dr. Lori Glimsher, who was distinguished faculty at Harvard University. We also attracted and recruited her husband, Greg Petsko, very distinguished biochemist at Brandeis. In fact, to tell you the truth, we're going to try to clean out Boston, basically, what we're trying to do. And we're only going to leave one thing in Boston, and do you know what that is? The Red Sox, exactly. We're going to leave the Red Sox in Boston. And Mary Opperman, I did not say that. Somebody else in the front row here said it. So we have new leadership there, a lot of exciting things going on. And right this minute, on 69th, between First and York, the university is building its biggest project to date, that is until the New York Tech campus starts rising. And that is a research building that is a $1 billion project that will double the research space at Weill Cornell Medical College. So a lot of good things happening there. Thank you for asking. Yes. Thank you.
You've talked a lot about the technical side of the university, science, humanities, and can you say a little bit more about what is going to be done in social science apart from economics, and how this will contribute to the global vision of the university?
It's a
in the
very
future?
important question. Thank you for raising it. The social sciences were the subject of one of those academic task forces that the provost assigned. I hope it's fair, Kent, to say that the economics discussion was in a way related to that academic task force. And so a lot of other discussions are going on related to the social sciences. I couldn't agree more with I believe, the implication of your question, and that is talking about solving problems and dealing with issues in the world. The social sciences is front and center. That was my undergraduate background in psychology, especially in social psychology. So it's very, very important. I can't give you more details about things that are still being discussed, but there's very substantial attention being paid to that. And I guess I can also say that the connections between the social sciences and the other parts of the campus are being forged more strongly by the deans talking to each other. That's true within colleges, like CALS, for example, Agriculture and Life Sciences, where there's some of our most distinguished social sciences department. It's true within arts and sciences. It's true in ILR and other human ecology and other departments that have colleges that have distinguished social science departments, but also between and among the colleges. And so if you drop me a note to my email, I will connect you through the provost and deans with some of the more early insider information that I'm not even aware of myself that they're discussing, and we'll get that back to you. What class are you in, by the way?
72.
72, okay. So will somebody write down the problematic classes here? 72, 82. All right. Thank you.
I'm trying to understand how an undergraduate program at the Technion College will be compared to, or how it looked like compared to one here. Will they, I know we all had to take, say we're in the engineering school, we had to take all kinds of other courses. Will they be able to take Psych 101 and stuff like that? Or they go back and forth, or how will that?
Thank you very much for helping me clarify. I apologize I wasn't clearer about that. The New York 10 campus is a graduate school only. Graduate school only, and I'm sorry I didn't make that clear. So what Provost Fox and his, I'm trying to think of what to call him. I guess I'll call him a dream team. We're in polite company. I was going to say his comical band, but that wouldn't be fair. They're developing new graduate programs. So number one, they're going to teach graduate degrees from Cornell University on that campus. They're going to start having students from Ithaca this very fall, and for the first matriculants applying specifically for those graduate degrees in 2013. Secondly, the Technion, to more directly answer your question, the Technion and Cornell are developing a new dual degree, not joint, but a dual degree program called the Masters of Applied Sciences. That's going through, I believe, still the faculty vetting process here at Cornell and at the Technion. We have to go through accreditation in New York State. It's a new degree that neither school has ever given. And of course, there's an international institution coming into New York State to do this. By the way, to my knowledge, the first time that a distinguished American school has invited an international university to set up something new on American soil. So we're still in the planning processes of it, but it's strictly graduate education. There will be experiences for undergraduate students on that campus, but the curriculum is a graduate curriculum. Sorry I didn't make that clear. Good morning, how are you?
I know where Milt Kogan is.
Now I want to know, where is he?
At 2 o'clock, he'll be talking at Kiplinger Theater at the class of 57 students in the arts, graduates in the arts. And he and Michael Hausman and many other people will be there. It's going to be very exciting. Milton is preparing for that right now.
All right, when you talk to him, please just ask him one question and tell him one thing. The tell him one thing is that we're so proud to have him associated with 2 classes. Some of my senior staff want to know more about George Clooney, and they would like to know more about that. Some members of my family would like to know more about George Clooney. Some members of Hunter's family would like to know more about George. So if you can ask him something about that and have him send me a note at david.skorton, that would be great.
And he's just
What's your question?
He's just finished shooting hoops with Tom Selleck, and he'll talk about that too.
All right, some of my
you.
staff would like to know about Tom Selleck,
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry, there's somebody upstairs. I'm going to go upstairs just for a second. I'll get back. I apologize for not looking up there. Please.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, So we've made a lot of strides recently in the energy area with the combined energy plant and the lake source cooling and the climate action plan. But we obviously still have a long way to go to eliminate Cornell's overall footprint. So I was wondering what you see as the future for energy of our campus and how we're going to move to providing our heat and our power more sustainably.
Thank you very much for a terrific question. What class are you from?
Class of 12.
Aha, so somehow I knew that. So before telling you some answers about this, I want to thank perhaps you and many other students through you for the leadership the student active organizations here have had in helping to form and move these climate action plans along. When we began, Cornell's always been very, very conscious of this. Lake source cooling and many other good ideas were going on here for a long time before I was affiliated with Cornell. But since I've been here, I've taken great learnings from Kyoto now and other student groups. So I do want to acknowledge that. Because of the work of these student groups, because of faculty expertise, and because of staff ingenuity, there's a whole bunch of things going on at Cornell. We did go coal-free a couple of years ago, as you alluded to or implied, by having this combined heat and power plant that is a turbine thing that I don't really understand. You know, I'm just a gentle person. I'm not a scientist like Provost Fox. And it allows you to do both heat and power and reduce, based on natural gas, and reduce the need for coal, and they reduced it down to zero. So we're going to continue that, number one. We're going to continue the use of lake source cooling, continuing studies of the effect of lake source cooling on Cuba Lake with colleagues in the state government. We are fulfilling the terms of the Climate Action Plan, which is a multifaceted plan that I'm glad to talk to you about offline, not to take too much time up here, but a bunch of things occur in that plan. One thing is the university's investing in upgrades to buildings that are currently here to make them more energy efficient in terms of utilities. I'm looking at the provost to remind me, $44 million, $46 million over years, something on that order of magnitude. Investment in the buildings with an eye toward eventually recouping those expenses and, just as importantly, making the campus, more environmentally efficient. That money is being spent despite the recession to do a better job on upgrading facilities. New facilities obviously are much more energy efficient than ones built a half a century ago. The new Cornell NYC Tech Academic Building, the first building which is being designed right now, our aspiration is to make that a net zero building where it generates as much power as it uses. It's a very, very, very ambitious aspiration, but that's our aspiration to do that. And that's some of the things that are going on. If you write me directly at david.skorton, I'll get you connected with Vice President Q Wong, who, with his staff, oversees the Climate Action Plan, and he'll give you a little more detail, a little more granularity on these things. Thanks for asking the question. What are you doing next year?
Master of Engineering here.
In what field?
Civil.
All right. Way to go. That's great. Please.
My fellow classmate from the class of '82 made off with my question, but I have another one.
Is your class of '82?
Yes.
We have to go now. We really can't.
Okay, '82. We've just been typecast. I do have another question. Some of the other Ivies have welcomed back ROTC to their campuses, and we've always had a strong ROTC presence here, but I was really surprised at how few, in my case, Air Force cadets are here. Based when I was here, we had almost 100 cadets. We're down to like 25. Does Cornell have a position on ROTC on campus, or can they encourage more people to apply to that program? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as you mentioned, I'm really proud to stand here and tell you that we always had ROTC during all this controversy across the country. I was in the sort of baby version, pre-ROTC in middle school and high school, thinking that I was going to do that in college, and I found a different way to go forward. But I've always had great, it was Army ROTC, I always had great respect for the people who do that. We have had some diminution in that, not by our actions, not by our hand. And I think Ron Sieber continues, our vice provost, continues to be the main person working on that. I don't have a real good handle on how to go forward and increase that. If you send me a note, I'll connect you with Ron, and he can tell you. I don't think he's going to be able to give you glib answers on this either, but it's very, very important to us. We also have on the order of magnitude, I'm looking at Vice President Murphy, of about 100 veterans on campus now that have come back, and that's something else that we're focusing on. Of course, they have to pass muster to get into Cornell, but we're very, very focused on having open arms to these men and women who have, put everything on the line for the United States. So we're keeping both things going.
We have a live stream question.
Okay, great, thank you.
Are there any updates from the committee looking into the future of international studies at Cornell? And it's from an alum in 09.
Well, thank you very much. We did, well, let's start from the beginning. About a year and 4 months ago, Provost Fox, thinking I didn't have enough to do, said, would you develop a white paper on internationalization at Cornell? I actually think his strategy was to keep me off his back about other issues, thinking that I would disappear into the ether, talk to faculty, go to the library, and I wouldn't be coming across the hall, asking him questions he didn't want me to ask him. That didn't really work out too well, did it? But anyhow, I did spend a long time listening to faculty and staff, senior staff, deans, and also talking to some colleagues of mine at other institutions where I believe they're ahead of us in some aspects of thinking about the future of internationalization. Nobody's ahead of us in terms of international engagement. Nobody's ahead of us in terms of the quality of the scholars doing international studies. But there are some schools who have developed a more cohesive vision of the future. And so in this white paper that I released to the community, I hope a lot of you saw it on the website, we decided to do some things differently right away to up our aim at the number of undergraduate students who have a meaningful overseas experience. About 1 in 4 do it now. We'd like to make it about 1 in 2. We are calling for some administrative reorganizations that are really not very interesting, but we think will serve the students better. We're looking for a way to make the cost of study abroad a little less expensive than it is. And the most important thing was that I asked the faculty, the 2 provosts in particular, Provost Glimcher in New York City and Provost Fox here, to appoint a faculty committee between the College of Medicine and the Ithaca campus to develop a vision, the faculty vision of the future of internationalization, akin to the strategic plan that was developed by the faculty. They're hard at it now. We're hoping to hear from them end of the summer, September-ish. And as soon as I know what that is, I'll share it with the community. I know they're working on it actively. Professor Alfonso Torres from the College of Veterinary Medicine is chairing it, and it's a really, really powerful, strong committee. I think I have time for one more, if I'm not mistaken.
Up here?
Okay, great.
Hi, is
Now,
Cornell
don't be
planning
nervous.
on-
This is the last question of Reunion 2012. I mean, don't be nervous.
Is Cornell planning on doing anything with open education, free online education? Because I think that should be cleaned out of Boston as well. And yes, I am class of 82.
All right. All right. Okay. So is Chris Marshall here today? Up here, David. Okay. Chris, it's not that I don't want to have the class of 82 here. It's not that. But for the next time they come, I'd like Provost Fox to interact with them on any little questions that they may have. Okay? That would be great. So this is really cuts the core of one of the things that we're scratching our heads about in a serious way. Cornell, through a wholly owned subsidiary, eCornell, has given education either leading to a certificate or to executive kind of professional development. I'm going to get these numbers wrong, but it's something on the order of magnitude of 50,000 students in 200 countries, but not degrees. We do have online education through the Johnson Graduate School of Management, and there are other areas where we've dipped our toe in the water. But right now, the academic leadership is considering in a very serious way how to go forward. And they're looking at a variety of issues. The business model, if I can paraphrase what you're asking, the relationship of any online offerings to on-campus offerings, should they be some sort of hybrid or would it be totally separate? And they're also looking at the models that are being put forward by Stanford, MIT, Harvard, and other excellent institutions. So I have to give you a stay tuned on that one. And I think stay tuned in this case is not going to be the end of the summer. It's going to be later than that. But they're looking at it very, very seriously. And like a lot of other things, trying to do it in a way that makes sense with the overall Cornell ethos. Thanks very, very much for this. I hope you have a fabulous, fabulous day. And welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you.
David, on behalf of everyone in attendance, both here in Ithaca and online, thank you for your candid assessment and vision for the future of our beloved university. Now everyone please stand and join After Eight and the Hangovers in the singing of our alma mater.